Mr. Baker? Up there in that one. Raise your right hand and be placed under oath.
Yes, sir. David Barry Dixon.
All right, who you married to, Mr. Dixon?
Sabrina Smithson.
All right, tell me a situation. I'm going to try to go. I'm going to start with the tree company. Tell me what's going on with the tree company. How is it structured? How is it set up? What's your deal with financing and so forth?
So, in the past, I worked in a position, I got great opportunity to learn a lot. I come up from a groundman as an apprentice, as a lineman. I taught the apprenticeship. I was a lineman through the IBW. I was president of the IBW for a couple of terms. I work for Duke Energy now. I think I've worked there 8-9 years. I work in a role where I watch contractors similar to what she has. Very grateful for the opportunity that I got with Duke. And I had landed so many contracts in my past for other companies. I learned the state of Tennessee to a different degree. Not that everybody liked me, but they did respect me in the industry. My cousin wanted to do tree work to this degree, and he's a great tree man. He's been doing it all his life, literally since he was 18. And I landed a contract with Hopkinsville Electric and then Duck River Electric, and then from there we went on FEMA storms. My son got out of high school and he went to work for.
Who went on those? Or what entity?
This was from my cousin's company. Let me back. Okay, so starting with Dixon Tree Service, my son wanted to start his own business. COVID hit. He worked for 5 Star Electric, was a contractor for me. And I walked in Dixon Electric. I knew Daryl Gillespie for 20 years. I said, Daryl, would you give me a contract for my son? They said, yeah. He said, I'll give you 1 bucket. My cousin gave us an old broke down bucket truck. It had a motor blowed up. It was sitting on the side of the road somewhere coming back from a storm that we had ran. I went to O'Reilly's, bought a 454 motor for it, and I called Vermeer. I know all the sales rep. Chris with TerrorX, his granddad started that company there, and we've been friends for 20 years. Bought trucks through the years for another company, another entity. And I had credit at the Bank of Dixon, and anyways, I got that bucket. We got that first Vermeer chipper. I called up there, and, sales rep said, I'll have it there tomorrow. He brought it down. We went to work. I didn't know the tree aspect as well, but I know power lines backwards, forwards, left. I know every entity of a power line. I know rigging really well. So we started work. I worked in the field a ton in Dixon. I've done every angle of that industry that you can think of. And I'm not taking anything from Miss Smithson either. She worked in the field also. I landed every contract they got right now but one, every one of them. And you can prove it. You can call the power company. I landed TVA, Dixon Electric, Shelbyville, Smithville, Cleco. I landed them all because I knew them from 20 years in the past. It's not something that you walk up and bid. It's something you got to know somebody. That Cumberland Electric contract, I went through the apprenticeship school with the guy that ran that at one time, and he loved me to death. And not that I got it because he just gave it to me. We had to hit certain numbers, and he had to trust me. I landed that in a hayfield. Sager, I hired Sager. I didn't hire him for the company, for Sabrina. I said, you want to go to work with us, with me, us, not just me and her. Come on, and I didn't get him from another tree company. I got him from Meriwether Lewis. He got Meriwether Lewis Electric. Matt Kirk works there. They lost 50% of their budget at that time. He said, I got 3 guys that need a home. You give them a home, I'll help you get a contract eventually with us. I hired 3 of them. It was him and a guy named Kimbo, and another fella that just didn't cut it. So that's how that went. I don't know. I'm rambling on. What's the any other questions?
Yeah,
The buckets. I went to the Bank of Dixon, got a loan for the buckets.
Yeah, let me rein you back in. What I'm getting at is who did the seed money?
I did.
All right. I'm going to show you some documents if there's no objection here. Can you identify these documents for me?
I can.
That first document in particular, it says ship to. Who is those? What does it read there?
The very first one on here is one of the last ones bought, and it says David Dixon and Sabrina Smithson, DBA.
I'm sorry, you turn your microphone on there on the table. You'll have to touch the base.
Sorry about that. I am going to object to these, Your Honor, as to the lack of authentication. These are, in theory, business records, but we don't have any custodian of records affidavit affixed to them to testify to the truthfulness.
What are the records of?
They are purported invoices that aren't signed by anyone.
These are invoices to Mr. Dixon. He can authenticate.
Yes.
Overrule the objection, I'll allow him to authenticate it if he's able.
All right. Now, who are those showed shipped to?
David, this first one is David Dixon and Sabrina Smithson,
What's that DBA?
doing business as.
And what does it say under there?
Invoice to David Dixon.
All right. What is that piece of equipment?
A 1500 BC XL chipper with a winch.
All right. Did you receive that piece of equipment?
Yes, sir.
All right. How much did that piece of equipment cost?
$92,500. There was two of them bought.
All right. Without going through these piece by pieces, what are the rest of these invoices?
This one shipped to, invoice to myself, my address, not the business address. It's 56,500. It is a 2019 BC 1800 XL. It's a chipper with the winch on it. The winches are nice to have. Dixon wanted them. Here's another one. It's a brush grapple. It goes on the on one of the dingo units, and it's shipped and to me. This one shipped and invoiced to me. It's a Vermeer 1800 XL chipper. It was 43,500.
Approximately, don't have to add it up. Just that stack of equipment there, how much was that?
I'd say it's $500,000-600,000.
And in addition to the other $400,000 in bucket trucks, how much would that be?
$1 million. Close.
Let me interrupt. I'm assuming both of you good lawyers are aware of the law in the state of Tennessee regarding what is marital property and what is separate property. Any property that's acquired during the marriage, from the date of the marriage forward, constitutes marital property. What I'm hearing is everything, even by the plaintiff's proof, everything about this business was acquired during this marriage, so therefore it's marital property. So establishing who got the invoices and so forth is fine, but what I'm concerned about is that I'm being asked to issue an order to keep him from interfering with this business. And, we'll, at a later date, have to litigate the value of the business and who gets what and, any other aspects of that. But the order of protection that I'm being asked to extend is one that basically to keep him from interfering with the business because of the proof that has been given about him removing items of property. And once we establish that her having control of the business, if in fact that's happened, and her having possession temporarily of items of equipment that's used in that, does not negate his claim for ownership or an interest in that property. It's just a question of, on a short-term basis, temporarily, how are we going to allow this business to operate? So you can introduce all of these invoices. I'm just simply saying, I acknowledge the fact that he is probably on these invoices and he has an ownership interest in it. It is not a question of that. It is a question of whether or not removing equipment during the time that is supposed to be worked on by these other employees or being used for jobs, constitutes a basis along with all of the other issues that have been raised for me to issue this order of protection. Clearly, the two of them cannot operate this business together.
I agree. But what had concerned me, and why I guess we're kind of going into this detail, is I've read the divorce complaint. I think she's setting up to say, well, all this equipment is not his. This was separate equipment owned by the LLC and blah, blah, blah. But they're part and parcel. I'm just anticipating. And
that issue may be litigated down the road, but it is not an issue that I am going to consider today.
Fair enough. Judge, I'd move that in as, I think that's Exhibit 4, Judge.
I think so.
All right, so now let's move on to situation. When you were calling your wife in Oklahoma, what was going on with that situation there?
So that's a contract I landed also with Centerpoint. I worked 2 years to land it. So the first storm that she's talking about, she was off vacationing. Tammy was vacationing. I got a call from Mike Rose. He said, hey, I need X amount of crews. I need them ASAP. So let me back up one step. I got this same call 3 weeks previous. And I was in bed. It was like 5:30 in the morning. Brennan was sitting right beside of me. He said, hey, man, how fast can you get 20 crews up here? I said, well, I looked at my phone. I think it said 6 hours. I said it's a minimum of 8 hours. 6 hours is from point A to point B on paper, but in reality, it's 8 hours. He said, I can't do 8 hours. I can do 6. It's Mike, I can't make it, and I don't want to get in trouble with you guys because I've done that in the past, and we got burnt. It just burns bridges. So anyways, they called somebody else, and they never showed up. So he got us approved for that 8-hour, 10-hour mode time, depending on where you're going in Oklahoma. He called me at, I think it was 12 o'clock. I was doing a burn pile, had 2 people there helping me. And he said, hey, man, I need crews. Are you in? I said, yes, on the 10-hour mode. He said, y'all come on. He said, come quick. So I called Tammy, no answer. I called Sabrina, no answer. I called 20 times to and I'm trying to figure out rosters, who's coming. This is on a Sunday to add on to it, and I don't remember what day it was. And so that's the day she said I left the kids. So I had to be in Indianapolis for a meeting on like a Tuesday or Wednesday, but I wanted everything to run smooth to build this resume with this company. And it's a big deal. It's hundreds of thousands of dollars. They probably invoiced for $600,000-700,000 off this storm at a minimum, 60-70% profit. So I go up there. We get to the park. I drove all night long. Well, all of us did. Everybody there. Had one truck break down. We got it going. Anyways, I get there. I'm the first guy there. 3 points of contact pull up. A guy from OG&E, DSR, Davy Resource Group, and the guy from Centerface. They asked everybody to get out of the trucks. They lined them up. Then they asked who their name is. They went through every bucket truck. They checked the harnesses, the dates of the stickers in there for the boom testing. A couple of them were kind of out of date. They were running low. Anyways, did all that. Then we went to work. We worked about 2 weeks. And Sabrina, yes, I pulled her off the roster. Yeah, I pulled Jeremy off the roster. They're not there. They're nowhere to be found. They said they were coming. And yeah, if they were coming, they could have gladly took the roster. I would have gladly left. I had to be in Indianapolis in 2 or 3 days. That's a long drive for me from Oklahoma. So I called a couple days into it, and we did really well. I called a guy that worked for the company that I hired, Cliff. He come up there, took my place, and I hauled butt, and I drove all night to the house to get to a door that is locked. I guess she had the kids lock me out of the house, so I'm trying to climb through an upstairs window to get my computer. I took a shower, and I hauled butt. And she wouldn't answer the phone because she's mad at me, whatever. I guess I'm the worst person in the world. And then I made it to Indianapolis to come home. I called Cliff. Everything ran smooth, well, to a certain degree, after I left. And I was really proud of that moment because at that point, we had built a resume with this other company. So that's the first Oklahoma storm that we went on with this company. And it took me 2 years to build that with them.
All right, well, what I'm getting at is, Judge needs to hear about, all that back and forth. Y'all are bickering via text,
So
calling each other names.
I got a call from a lady about something about her septic tank. I go over there and I don't know what she's talking about. It don't make sense. It's this guy and this girl and this and that going on. So
when did that occur?
It was about 2 days before she left.
Okay. Where was she located at that time? Was she in Oklahoma? Was she in Tennessee?
No, she was in Tennessee.
Okay. What I want to talk about is the Oklahoma situation, where y'all are sending texts back and forth, and you drive to Oklahoma.
Okay.
I want to get to that.
Yeah, I wanted to sit her down and just say, hey, if you're wanting to do this and you want to do this, I don't want to go through what we're going through right now. I sat down with her at a table she's here and I'm here. There wasn't no bickering, there wasn't no fighting. And the way I did it was I took the keys to the trucks, but they're my trucks. Straight up. The ones I took, the cop checked them. He said, them's her. Yes. Anyways, out of that, she sat down with me. Her and my cousin talked a little bit. I don't know. And I asked her, I said, why are you doing all this? Why are we? And she'll tell you that's the truth. I never threatened her. I never said anything like beat you up or none of that. And in the end, I said, I said, do you love me? She said, yeah, I love you. I said, all right. I said, do you want me to leave? She said, yeah. I said, all right. And I left.
Well, you gotta admit that language is pretty harsh at spots.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. Well, she cusses every other sentence all the time. To deal with Tammy was talking about in the hot tub, none of half of that, it wasn't like that. I mean, and we cut up and joke around, but I don't beat her up. I don't threaten her.
Yeah. Well, what about this situation where sometime in the past, I guess, well, somebody's gonna shoot somebody in the stomach? What is that?
I don't know what she's talking about that. Now, I never threatened to shoot her in the stomach with a baby. That's not true. It's just not. It's not true.
All right, but obviously y'all's language is a little rough.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I'll go another one. She had an affair with a really good friend of mine,
Yeah.
and she didn't know if the baby was mine or not. That is true. I got the.
That was years ago. Correct?
Yeah, that was years ago. That's
Okay.
20 years ago.
But that didn't
21,
have-
be
Okay.
exact.
All right, gotcha. All right, but you're not out
If
to,
that occurred before this marriage occurred, then I don't want to hear anything about it.
Not another word. So,
all right, but what I'm getting at is you don't have any intent to harm Miss Smithson, do you?
no, sir. I told her that in a text message.
Yeah. And the equipment, you're not trying to sabotage the company.
No, sir. She took all my stuff.
What did she take of yours?
Well, she's got the F-350, the Jeep. She's got 3 or 4 or 5 trailers of mine. Chris gave me the foiler back, and then I chased one guy down the driveway in a 450. The truck was in her name, but the trailer and the Polaris was in my name. So I got that back, and she got the truck. But in Dixon County, they said anything that she had in her possession basically was hers, even though it's in my name.
Who told you that? Police?
Police guy,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
But he also turned me loose with that bucket, and that truck bucket was rented in my name.
Are you okay with leave everybody's property where it's at?
I'd love to have the F-350 back and the Jeep back. Why would she need them? It's in my name, but yes, sir, that's
Okay,
fine.
but you do want those back?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now let's move on to the children. You haven't had visitation, I guess, a month and a half?
It's been 2 or 3 months. It's been longer than that. And she said she was bringing them back the other day to meet with me. They were doing something, and then next thing I know, that just wasn't going to happen.
Do you want some back on a visitation schedule?
I would like that, yes, sir.
You know where the kids are staying right now?
She told my son that they were staying in another state. I have no idea.
Okay, she took the kids out of state?
Yes, sir.
All right, but you want to go back, what's your work schedule?
I work from the office. I work from home 2 days a week, and I hit the field 2 days a week, and I don't work on Fridays.
Okay, hold on, now, slower.
I usually hit the field when I want to, Mondays and Wednesdays. Usually is my days I do my audits and stuff.
Okay.
Then Tuesdays and Thursdays, I work
I'm
from
not
home.
sure I understand. Who do you work for?
I work for a power company,
What power company?
Duke Energy.
Do what?
Duke Energy.
Duke Energy. All right, and where are they located?
They're located, well, they own Piedmont Gas in Nashville, so I go safety meetings there about every quarter. They're in South Carolina, North Carolina, Ohio, Indianapolis, Kentucky. They cover like 7 states. But I work
You
out of
work out of
Midwest.
your home.
2 days a week I do.
All right.
And then 2 days a week I hit the field in somewhere in Indiana somewhere. It's a 2.5 hour drive from my house to the office.
What do you make in income?
About 100,000 or so.
You filed taxes last year?
I haven't filed, no. They did an extension on our taxes. They're tied together, and we have not done our taxes. And what I understood was we weren't doing them to October. I did the year before.
Good. But your $100,000, is that salary?
Yes, sir.
All right. And you think that's accurate?
It's real. It might be a little above.
We'll eventually find it out
Yeah.
from the records, but I'm asking for today with your best
I'm
estimate.
throwing 100,000. It might be 115. It's no less than 100.
Okay.
How much is your wife make?
Millions at this point?
Do what?
Well, not gross.
Millions?
Not gross revenue. How much is she actually clearing profit?
I know that they didn't do the taxes this year because they made so much profit that they didn't want to show it.
Well, the tax is not due till November
Well,
3rd.
Hold
Well-
on just a second. Mute this, please. Folks,
Roughly the same amount of money you're making?
Way more. Yes, sir.
Okay, but we agree it's at least
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
100,000.
Yes, sir.
Fair enough. What days could you
Any days.
All right, do you have that flexibility in
I
your
do.
schedule? Would a Saturday, Sunday be better?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter, okay. I'll pass the witness, Judge.
Mr. Nova, you may cross-examine.
Yes, Your Honor. Morning, Mr. Dixon. You are currently married to Miss Smithson, right?
Yes.
And you've had conflicts during your marriage?
Everybody has conflicts in their marriage.
But your conflicts reached the point that your wife left you in May of 2025. Right?
I guess if that's what she's saying. She left for some reason.
She left in May of 2025.
I don't remember if it was May or not. I can't say. She left. I'm not sure what day.
Okay. Over a month ago.
And that's been 3 or 4 months ago.
Were you aware that she left because she didn't feel safe?
No,
And after she left the home and left you, you kept trying to contact her.
that's
didn't
true.
You? You called and texted her repeatedly,
And she called me back.
and you sent her messages even after she stopped responding.
Yes.
When she wouldn't respond, you would go and steal items from Dixon Tree Services, LLC, to force her to respond.
And I'm not stealing anything. It's mine.
When there's an objection, I'm going to tell you like I told your wife, you need to be quiet while I deal with the objection, okay?
Yes.
The objection is to the form of the question, assuming facts not in evidence, because you're characterizing it as stealing. And as I explained, this any equipment bought during the marriage is marital property. It may be in her name, it may be in his name. It doesn't matter if these trucks are in his name, if they were marital property and they were dedicated for the use of this LLC. I'm going to make an order today that to deal with all of this, at least for a temporary basis. But you folks are probably looking at going to a special master to determine the assets and liabilities and the value of this company. And you may be looking at also having to invest in having someone hired to bring in and, evaluate the company. But it is not for today. I think right now we need to stick to what I'm being asked to do regarding how this is going to be dealt with in an order of protection. So go ahead, I'm sorry.
I'll rephrase, Your Honor. So when Miss Smithson would not respond to you, you would go and take items from Dixon Tree Services, LLC job sites.
That's not all the way true.
What part of that is incorrect?
I took stuff because it was mine. Those chainsaws, they're mine. They're in my name. I bought them, 96 mile engines. You can go up there and get a list of them.
So
The bucket trucks are in my name. Every chipper there was in my name. So how?
Directing you back to my question, you
Hold
would
on
go.
hold on a second. Did you hear anything that I just said a minute ago about what doesn't matter whose name it's in? It doesn't matter. I know you referred to it as yours and the reason you took it, but I want to make sure you understand. I'm not saying this LLC is all hers. I'm not saying it's all yours. I'm saying it's marital property, and your lawyer can explain this to you. But marital property means each of you has an interest in this property. How we divide that is supposed to be equitable or fair. But right now, I want you to understand that you're saying that you went and took the truck because it's yours. It's marital property. It may be in your name, but it's still marital property. Go ahead.
So when she would not respond to you, you would go to Dixon Tree Services job sites and take equipment.
Not always.
But you would do that.
I did once. I did.
Just once?
Mm-hmm.
I will remind you that you're under oath.
That's fine.
How many times did you go to a Dixon Tree Services LLC job site and take
I
equipment?
went twice, but I didn't take anything one time.
How many of the items that we've discussed today that have been taken from Dixon Tree Services do you still currently have possession of?
The chainsaws I gave back, she sent a guy to the house, which I let him come. He got all the chainsaws. There's no chainsaws left.
What about the rest of the equipment that you took?
Which part? A bucket truck, a chipper?
All of it.
I got a bucket and a chipper. The chipper's in my name and the bucket is leased in my name.
But you took it from Dixon Tree Services?
I did, and the cops let me leave with it. The same as they let her leave with my F-350 and my Gladiator.
Was there equipment in the bucket truck when you took it?
No, everything was on the ground.
So it was cleared out?
Yes, I am.
And I'm not as familiar with trees, so what is a chipper?
It goes on the back of that bucket truck. It chips the brush. It's actually the original first chipper that we bought together. Right. It's in my name, but it was us as a company.
What about trailers?
I bought those in my name too. I went to Hank Trailer and Chris Sager that was here, he said, hey, you know, come get your trailer. It's sitting here. And she already bought him another one. The machine that as Chris has, it's in my name also. I didn't take it so that he could keep going at the time. I thought a lot of Chris. The truck he had is in my name. I got it. She got him another one. You know, I don't forgot what you said. I'm sorry.
So are there currently any trailers in your possession?
Yes. And they're my personal trailers. We use them every day.
For what?
Tree work.
But you don't own a tree company outside, right?
I own Dixon Tree Service.
You're not on the LLC formation
No,
paperwork?
I'm not, but I'm on Dixon Tree Service. I own my own tree service. My son owns a tree service. Her son, he does tree work for different builders all the time. He's got storm contracts now himself. We use them every day.
How often did
I
Miss
bought and paid for them.
How often did Miss Smithson tell you to stop contacting her?
One time,
And
in a text message.
what did you do after that?
I tried to contact her. I did.
How many times did you call her after she sent that text message?
Probably 20 to 50.
How many times did you text her after you sent that text?
20 to 50.
Do you understand that that is harassment?
I do, at this point.
And you also showed up at a hotel where she was staying
Mm-hmm.
after she left you.
Yes.
She didn't tell you where she was staying.
She told me she was leaving to go on storm, not going to the beach with Jeremy Wells.
She didn't tell you which hotel she was staying at.
No.
But you showed up there anyway, didn't you?
I did.
She didn't invite you.
She didn't invite me.
She didn't give you the address.
No.
You went there on your own, knowing that she was trying to avoid you.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes to my question?
It is a yes.
While you were on your way there, you left her several threatening voicemails, correct?
I don't know about threatening, but yeah, I was mad. I was really angry.
You told her you were going to teach her a lesson if you got there.
Maybe so. I'm not doubting it. I said a lot of things.
You also told her that you were going to inform your children that she was sexually promiscuous. I'm not going to repeat the exact language that you used.
That's fine. Yeah, and no telling what she's told them about me. I know
So-
it's not good.
You've threatened to degrade her to your children.
A lot of people say a lot of things in heated moments.
So
I'm one of
that's a
them.
yes to my question.
Okay, yes.
You told her that if she didn't answer the phone and you got all the way down to where she was in Oklahoma, you're not going to like this. I'm telling you.
I mean, I don't think she did like it. But I got down there, I didn't do anything to her. I sat down with her and discussed, we had a 30-minute discussion and I left.
And you told her in those voicemails that you were going to teach her a effing lesson. Again, I'm omitting the words that
Yeah,
you're using.
yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that these are threats?
Yeah, but I'm not planning on hurting her. That wasn't my thoughts. That isn't what I was thinking.
But that's not what you told her.
Okay. I was just trying to get her to answer the phone and explain to me what was going on. That's
And
what I wanted.
you've hurt her previously.
No, I have not.
You've never hurt her.
No,
You've never kicked her.
no,
You've never tried to kick her.
no.
let's talk about the Dixon Tree Services LLC. This is a single member LLC, right?
Only because I told her that I trusted her not to ever do me wrong, and she did. Yeah, I put it in her name. Yes, ma'am, I did. And I landed every contract. I did every step. She had no idea what this business is even about, never worked in it one time in her life. I lived, ate, and breathed it all my life. I got through the apprenticeship because I climbed 150-foot towers from bottom to top to take them down. That's how I got the respect to land these contracts. Now, am I perfect? No, ma'am, I am not perfect by no means. But I didn't do all that she's saying. And I know she wants to take everything. Everything that I had, the reason I had these conversations was built for my kids. The rental houses, the business, the whole thing is built for my kids. It wasn't built for me and her. I didn't want anything. I wanted to leave it to my kids.
Mr. Dixon, hold on just a second. Mr. Baker, you stood a moment ago. I was anticipating you were going to say something. Well, I mean, part of what I have to do today is to determine whether or not the ex parte order of protection that Judge Lockhart-Mash, the amended ex parte order that Judge Lockhart-Mash put down, is going to be extended. And because it is a pending divorce, necessarily part of what I have to do today is to try to put some order down that's going to try to keep the peace between these parties and make some sort of a temporary division of personal property. So that's, pardon me, so I'm going to overrule your objection and allow this to continue.
Shortly after Ms. Smithson left you started to try and sabotage Dixon Tree Services LLC, right?
By doing what?
Overruled. I think sabotaging is not a subjective thing. It's pretty well easily understood if the allegation is being made in the form of that question, and it is cross-examination. His question to you was, by doing what?
Well, you started taking equipment from the business.
No, not originally. No, that's not what I did. She didn't actually act like she left me like we were fighting. She left like she was going on storm. And she ended up with Jeremy and went, I don't know where, and ended up in Cape Hatteras on an island with him for a couple months. You know, and I did that later on. I started getting some stuff. But now they snatched stuff from my house, out of my garage, everything. I'd come home and there'd be stuff gone. There's this gone, that gone. And this is the other thing. So, you know, how is it fair that she gets to keep all this, but I can't have anything of mine? You know, like the trailers you're talking about, I bought them. I went and got them. I paid for them. I don't understand.
When you bought them,
Yeah?
you bought them for Dixon Tree Services
ma'am.
LLC to use.
I bought them for me.
For you,
Yes,
for the
ma'am.
company that you didn't have.
The company that my son has. Jacob's Tree Service, Connor, they've been doing it for years.
So then why is that not what's on the invoices that your attorney presented to the court today?
I don't know what you're
The
talking about.
invoices that you passed up say that they were meant to go to Dixon Tree Services LLC.
I have no idea. Can't answer that.
Okay.
Sustain the objection. I think it is established that many of these invoices were in his name individually. They were certainly not in his son's name, and that there was only one, I think, that was about Dixon Tree Service. But once more, I will reiterate, it doesn't matter whose name it was in. It may be the only relevance as to whose name it was in is because whether or not that was dedicated for the use in the business and therefore ought to continue to be used in the business. Ownership, valuation, whether it constitutes a marital asset, all of that is going to be determined at a later hearing.
Yes, I'm simply trying to establish for the court today, Your Honor, that this equipment has been used by Dixon Tree Services LLC historically since the business, and that it has impeded the business's function of him taking these items back.
Mr. Baker, when you object, would you just push your microphone button on, please? Go ahead.
So the majority of those invoices that you passed up that are in evidence, is that for equipment that has been primarily used by Dixon Tree Services LLC?
It's been primarily used by my sons, both of them, and the business at a 50-50. They use anything they want whenever they want. I never turn them down for nothing.
Okay. So I know you stated that you gave a lot of the equipment back to Dixon Tree Services LLC or back to various employees, but how much equipment did you take?
I didn't take much. A lot of it was already there at the house, like the dingoes and stuff, they never did take them. They were just sitting in the field. One guy she had out there looking for it at night, she called me and said, he can't find the dingo, he drove right past it. It was right on the other side of the black trailer that is mine that she took the other night. I don't know why, it's in a mode, the field wasn't bush hogged, I don't know why they missed it, but it was right over there by a log pile. I used it on the log pile. I pulled it out of there and he come and got it. I never did snatch it. It was always at the house. There was two of them. They were both, I believe, there.
And how many times did you go to active job sites and interrupt after May?
Once. That was it.
Once? When did you
Once.
go?
The job site over in Shelbyville, they didn't work. They weren't working when I went over there. And the one over there she's talking about in Smithville, I went over and ate lunch with a power company guy and tried to kind of talk to him, because she don't know him. She never met the guy in her life. He knows me very well, known him for years. And I did grab that bucket. That's what I grabbed. And I gave it right back. It's the one that she's talking about. She's missing chainsaws. The chainsaws were in the building. I didn't snatch the chainsaws. My son got them off there to use, but he put them in the building. The William guy come and got them. I told him where they were. And that bucket's in my name also. But even though it's a business, I'm sorry.
How many times have you interrupted workers working?
One time.
And why did you interrupt them?
Because I went to get my Jeep up here at the police department. I said they had snatched that Jeep. It was Chris Sager that grabbed it. And they said, well, it's a marital deal, so there's nothing we can do even though it's in your name. So I said, so basically you're telling me I can go down the road right here and grab that bucket truck that's rented in my name. As long as she ain't there, I can just run off with it. He said, yeah. So I drove right down there and I grabbed that bucket truck and I took off. They called the law. I come back and I sat and talked to him. They said, what's your name? I gave him my name. He said, there ain't nothing we can do here. Civil matter. Just like they told me on my Jeep. And I told the cop there, I said, you tell her, I'll give her that bucket truck back if she'll give me the Jeep. You know, even Stephen.
You interrupted Dixon Tree Services that afternoon, right?
I did.
In the operation of the business.
They were sitting there asleep on the side of the road, if you call that interrupting. They were doing lunch or whatever they were doing. They backed up other than one of them. He tried to get the chipper off and I took off. And I'm like, you ain't getting the chipper. But all the chainsaws, they were already off. They were sitting in the woods beside the trees and so forth.
You were aware that doing that would impact the operations of the business?
Sure, the same as her grabbing that Jeep would, and everything else she's done. She grabbed all my guns the other night too at the house while she was there. Never got anything of hers, just took my guns.
You're aware that while an order of protection is pending, you're not supposed to have guns, right?
No, that's not true. The cops told me that was not on my case.
Are you aware that if an order of protection is entered today, that you will not be able to have access to your guns?
I don't know why not. I've not said anything about shooting anybody. Don't have any kind of criminal background whatsoever.
So circling back to that incident, that was on July 11th when you stole the trucks.
I didn't steal
When you
anything.
took the vehicles from the work site.
I don't know the date.
That was the same day that you were served with your order of
I
protection.
can't tell you dates.
That's okay. Just for your reference, you went to the job site after you were served with the order of protection.
Nothing was said about the job sites. Only thing they said is I couldn't come to her and talk to her. And the other thing, the house, I understood because she moved out, it was okay for me to be there. I guess now she can still pull up at the house and I'll go to jail or have to run or something. I don't know the deal with that, so.
So directing you back to my question, you were served with the order of protection and then
Okay.
you went to the job site, yes?
Maybe.
You don't know?
I don't remember.
This was last week and you don't know?
No, I don't remember. Too much has went on.
Okay. And over the weekend of July 4th, you spoke to your wife, didn't you?
No, not that I'm aware of. Maybe, I don't know. No, I did not.
Do you recall threatening to burn her property?
No, I don't remember. I'm not saying I didn't, I just don't remember.
When she wouldn't
Oh,
respond?
yes, I do. Hold on, I'm sorry. I did threaten her to do that a dozen times because I was pissed. I did do that. Then she hit me she called me or texted me and said something about the guy in the field that works for us. She fired him, now he works for me. She said that he posted something on Facebook saying that he burned her stuff or something. I don't know, and he didn't. We didn't burn anything but logs, and I don't know where she got it other than she was scared I was going to burn her stuff. I'm sure, because I did say that. That is true. I threatened to do all kinds of stuff, but I didn't burn anything. Matter of fact, I left everything, and she should be able to verify this. I never done anything with anything of hers. The only thing that I did do was cleaning up the outside was a bunch of old junk like wood and stuff like that outside the house that she had piled up. That it was just stuff where we had worked on a barn. I didn't do anything with anything of hers, and at all. And I did. She had her cousin, or no, her nephew snatched a truck the other day. He comes over. He's my son's best friend. He come over and grabbed a truck while I wasn't there. And it's an old truck that I bought in Indiana. She loves it. Her uncle and I drove up there and got it. I think I gave $4,500 for it. And I told him, I said, if I can get that truck back from Nevin, I'll put all her clothes in there and you can come get it or whatever. I don't know, and that never happened. But, and like I said, and I don't know. And Nevin said he's going to bring the truck back. I said, just bring it out there and leave the keys in it. I don't care anything about it. She loves it, whatever. But I was just going to put her clothes and stuff in there and all her stuff.
All right. But you were served with the order of protection on Friday, July 11th. Is that right?
I don't know. I don't know the dates. I'm sorry. I don't. I know I was served. I don't know what date, what time.
So as of the date you were served, you were under court order not to contact your wife, right?
Okay.
Did you understand that the order prohibited you from indirect contact with her?
I haven't had any indirect contact. That was before the court or the whatever, when he took the truck. He took it to a funeral, he said, or something. I don't know.
That means you couldn't use people like employees to get messages to her, correct?
Sure, but I didn't.
But you went to the property and to the business
Uh-huh.
and took equipment.
And I didn't leave any messages with them.
But you were aware that you doing that would get back to her.
Sure.
You were aware that her employees would contact her and say, hey, your husband just came here
Yep.
and ran off.
That's exactly right. I did know that. Yep.
And you did not have, no, strike that. So even though the court ordered you to stay away from her, not to contact her indirectly,
I didn't contact her.
you still went and
indirectly.
did something that you knew people that would get back to her,
Well, you know what? They didn't have to call her if they didn't want to.
but you knew they would. Right?
I'm not going to say one way or the other. Well, they snatched stuff from me. They never contacted me.
But didn't you just state just a second ago
Mm-hmm.
that, oh, I did this so that I get the Jeep back?
I was hoping to, yeah. I was hoping to get the Jeep back. That was my thoughts.
Just a brief moment, Your Honor. In these 200, are you aware of how many texts that you sent her?
200,000, 200, I don't know. It's a lot. I know that.
I know in 1 week, in between July 3rd and July 10th, 7 days, you texted her 263 times.
Okay.
Are you aware that she only texted you 3 times?
She called me a couple times. Did she mention that?
Not asking about calls, I'm asking about
Okay,
these
yes,
text messages.
all right, I'll agree with you. I don't know about 200. That's a lot. That was,
It's 263.
okay.
And that doesn't count that you testified you called her 20 to 50 times
Okay.
after she told you to stop contacting her.
She answered some of my calls, and she called me back several times.
But you haven't provided us any proof of that today.
I'm not trying to.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Redirect?
No, sir. Yeah, I lost it. My son, both of them were, I was sitting in a truck, and they said, "What do you think about the house Mama bought Tammy's brother in Alabama?" I said, "She ain't bought no house in Alabama." He said, "Yeah, she did." Both of them clicked it up on their phones. I said, "For Brandon, some guy named Brandon." And she's partnership with
How does
Tammy.
this respond to
I
your question?
I don't have
Stop
any.
talking when I'm talking.
Yes.
How does this respond to your question?
have
It's
no idea.
non-responsive. I'm not even going to wait for the objection. Mr. Dixon has a tendency to want to say something to justify himself in everything he does, regardless of whatever the question is. So please try to conform your answer to what you're asked.
Yes, sir.
You've got no intentions of harming your wife.
I do not, and I apologize for those text messages, and I do need to own that.
All right, no further questions, Judge.
Anything further?
Not based on that.
Thank you, sir. You may step down. Mr. Baker, do you have any other witnesses? You have any rebuttal proof you wish to offer?
Yes, I would briefly call Miss Sabrina Smithson back to the stand.
Call who? Mrs. Smith? All right, Mrs. Smithson. Come up, Mrs. Smithson. I would remind you that you remain under oath.
Ms. Smithson, I just want to circle back on one point that Mr. Dixon brought up. When he said that he went to this Oklahoma storm and he pulled you off the roster, were his words. What did he do?
So, just to go back to that, just real quick, Mike Rose actually, he's talking about hired me to help them on the storm through Centerface. So I have a computer, gas card, all those things. But my journey, just to clarify, when I left, there was an Alabama storm that got canceled. And so everybody got redirected and turned back around. So in that instance, we were also working a CLECO contract in Louisiana. I had to get a rental bucket from Custom Trucks. So I was already packed up. And so I headed down to get this truck to take it to that contract. My intentions, and he knows they were, is to take the kids to Cape Hatteras, which is Outer Banks of North Carolina, for the summer break. But on my journey to go get this bucket truck, it's like I said before, is he called me and griped at me for going down there. Now, I can't go down there and pick up a bucket truck by myself, first and foremost. And anytime we pick up any kind of equipment like that, you have to bring somebody else that can drive once you get there. And I signed for that paper myself when I went down there. As I was going down there, I got the phone call and he did get the call from Centerface that there was a storm. I pulled over while I was in Covington, Louisiana, and Mr. Jeremy Wells and Mr. Mac Winters, we sat down and we built that roster at a gas station parking lot. I had everybody's name there. The utility was very aware of where I was and how long it was going to take me to get there, and they were okay with that. They understood that I would be a few days before I got there because I had to drop there. I had no clue. He told me he was not going to go. He was not going. That he said he had no contact with me. He did. He said, I'm not going. I'm going to stay here with the kids. So as I just journeyed my way on through, I was going to come back, and they knew when I was going to come back. It is not my responsibility to tell him what I'm telling the utility. I don't have to do that, because he told me he was staying with kids. That was where he was supposed to be, and I was handling everything on that end of it. So that was the first Oklahoma storm. Then there was a second Oklahoma storm because the guys did a really good job. So the second Oklahoma storm, Mike apologized to me and said, I'm sorry. I should have contacted you instead of Mr. Dixon. It won't happen again. He called me the second storm.
Sustained. There's an objection to the fact that you're quoting someone else, and that's hearsay, so I'm sustaining the objection.
I have to recall it. Can you
We're going
recall?
to strike it from the record, and I'm going to tell you again what I've told you and him both. When I'm dealing with an objection, you can't just volunteer and say things. You got to stop, let your lawyer deal with it, and then you can be asked another question.
I'm sorry.
So sustain the objection. There is no record other than the court reporter, so I'm not considering the statement. Go ahead, Ms. Castronova.
So he interfered with that first Oklahoma storm. Did he interfere with the second Oklahoma storm?
The second storm is when he came up there with he had the voicemails saying he was going to come up there. I didn't answer the phone.
And did he take any equipment from the business when he came up that second time?
He took keys.
Have you gotten those keys back?
He apologized to everybody, and gave the keys back, because obviously he can't drive 15 pieces of equipment back home.
Is that the last time that he's visited and interfered with the business?
Well, what he did take, now that I know, I did not know then, but I found out later, he took registrations out of every one of those trucks and went to circuit court clerk, filed for lost titles, and then gifted them to himself.
Are you aware of when he did that?
I don't know the exact dates, but I have them.
It was after you left in May?
Circuit court clerk Lou Ann Greer reversed it.
Okay, but did that occur after you had left him in May?
Yes.
So he interfered with the first Oklahoma storm, he interfered with the second Oklahoma storm. Was there another instance of interference with your business after you had left?
Sustained. Redirect is limited to questions that dealt with the cross-examination.
Your Honor.
Actually, she's been called as a rebuttal witness, overruled, sorry.
Thank you. So he interfered with the first Oklahoma storm, he interfered with the second Oklahoma storm. Has he interfered again after you left him in May?
Dixon Electric, just right up the road here. And that rental bucket that he took is not signatured through him. It is
So
Sabrina Smithson, Dixon Treason.
before you had left Mr. Dixon, did he ever try to do things like this?
Say that again.
Before you left him, say last year, before you left him, did he ever try to negatively do anything like this?
No,
Would he ever have come and taken things from the business?
no.
So I'll strike that.
And there was never a reason that I said I would talk to him. So the reason why he took it is because I wasn't talking to him.
And he told you that.
He's told me and several other people that.
No further questions.
Baker, you cross?
I can drive a bucket truck, yes, sir.
What was it you said you was not able to move that equipment?
Sorry.
Did I misunderstand you?
If he took 15 keys to buckets, he can't he can't physically drive them all back, is what I said. So he gave the keys back, but took the registrations out of the trucks. That's what I said.
And how long did you stay with Mr. Wells out there?
Where?
Oklahoma. Was he out there?
In Oklahoma? He goes on every storm. He's the mechanic.
Y'all share a room?
No, sir.
No further questions.
Thank you, ma'am. You may step down. Any other witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
Oh, let me ask this before you step down. Your minor children that are at home are 15 and 12.
Yes, sir.
It's my understanding from your prior testimony that he's never threatened them or harmed them. Is that correct?
He has never threatened them or harmed them. He is a good dad.
And so your main concern is to make sure that he doesn't try to make derogatory comments about you to them and to stop them from, or to try to influence them against you.
Our daughter is borderline autistic, and she can't handle this much stress.
What, if he is awarded some court-ordered visitation, what do you believe would be? I think he said something
If
like,
she has a choice, she won't go.
pardon?
If she has a choice, she will not go.
Okay, well, I'm going to put an order down. I have to put an order down, and it'll be up to him to, exercise it or not.
Yes, sir.
The fact of the matter is that under the law, there's a requirement that I set a visitation schedule. And one of the factors that I have to consider would be whether or not there is a preference of a child of 12 years of age or older. And more preference is given, obviously, if it's a 17-year-old, then that makes more weight with the judge about what's going to be because they're almost an adult. All right.
Can I ask?
Well, there actually is not a motion to set a parenting plan in this case, but parenting can be determined by the court on an order of protection as well. So we'll go from there. All right, thank you. You can step down. You want to have your final say?
I would, Your Honor.
All right.
Your Honor, the evidence shows that there was an escalating pattern of abuse. Mr. Dixon has tried to alleviate what he has stated by saying, oh, I was just running my mouth. But yeah, I did threaten her. But yeah, I did do this. But yes, I did threaten to burn her property. Oh yes, I did threaten to degrade her to our children.
There's no question your client is going to receive an order of protection. He's admitted that he made threats to burn the property. He's admitted that he texted her all of these times. He's admitted his statements and so forth. I mean, she's going to get an order of protection. It's just a question as to what the extent of that order of protection is going to be and regarding the property and so forth. So I need you to kind of limit your comments to those issues, not the question of whether she's entitled to an order of protection, but to what extent.
Yes, Your Honor. And the extent of the order of protection needs to extend to Dixon Tree Services, LLC. Mr. Dixon needs to be prohibited from interfering with the business. He's stated it in text himself. I know you and Tammy built it. Let's see if you can hang on for the ride. There will not be a Dixon Tree by next week, mark my words. He is trying to actively destroy this business. He has interfered with it at least 3 times since she left him in May of 2025. He's admitted in text, oh, I'll give the equipment back. I've given it back. I've taken more. I've given it back. This is nothing that he has done prior to Ms. Smithson leaving him, and this is nothing that is being done to support this marital asset as the court has determined. This is negatively interfering with the marital asset and is, in fact, interfering with marital property and lessening the value of marital property if he torpedoes this business. Therefore, we are asking that the court prohibit him from what amounts to financial abuse in his ownership of this business. As defined by statute, financial abuse is intentionally engaging to behavior that amounts to financial abuse. And financial abuse means behavior that is coercive or deceptive, or that unreasonably controls or restrains a person's ability to acquire, use, or maintain economic resources. He makes over $100,000. He does not need access to her business where he says that she's making a similar amount. But in torpedoing that business, in torpedoing her livelihood when, as she testified, she was a stay-at-home wife for the majority of the marriage until she started this business, he is attempting to destroy that business, to destroy her ability to walk away from this marriage, and we are asking that the court prohibit that. Thank you.
Mr. Becker, you said you didn't want to make a closing argument.
I think this case is clearly appropriate for a social no contact order between the parties. I don't think they need to be texting each other, calling each other, or anything unless it's related to the welfare of the children. I would suggest visitation maybe every other weekend. Obviously, from the testimony, Mr. Dixon wanted the Jeep Gladiator, the F-350 back. I think he wanted that chipper and that trailer back. If he can be awarded that, I think he would be happy for the time being. Of course, the marital residence, wife's moved out of there. And hopefully, if we could put in the order that neither party will be removing any property from wherever it's supposed to be until we can get a handle on inventory. And, you know, if it's, obviously, this probably does need to go to special master before we can get an inventory and wrangle all the assets and figure out what's going on. But hopefully that'll keep the parties at bay until we can either get back in court or get in front of a special master judge.
I've said this several different times, but I'm not sure it's resonating very well with anyone involved in this case. And that is, today's hearing is not about who owns what or who has acquired a certain piece of property. Today's hearing is about whether or not there should be an order of protection extended that would keep these two separated during the time that this divorce is pending. And I have already stated that I find that there is a basis for the extension of the order of protection. A social no contact order is not, in my opinion, going to be any good. I base my decision based upon the observations of these parties as they testified, their demeanor, their behavior, their demonstration of anger, and that obviously results in my finding that there should be an order of protection. But it also is based upon the text messages that I have reviewed, the voice recording that was set forth. And I understand, you know, when you go through a divorce, and this is Mr. Dixon's problem, you know, when you're going through a divorce, you suddenly find your world is upended. Former Judge Leonard Martin used to give the expression to cases when I was representing people in those situations that going through a divorce is painful. It's like taking off all your clothes and running naked through a briar patch. You just hurt all over. And it is a very difficult process to go through. But having residual anger, having anger that clouds your judgment, as I think Mr. Dixon has had, makes everything worse. And that's why we're here today. Yeah, it may be that you're angry at your wife, but you know, when you call up your wife and leave a voice message that every other word is obscenity and calling her names and sending her text messages such as this, and I think the record was that 250 text messages or something on that order in one day is not rational behavior. It is behavior of someone who is motivated by anger and frustration. So I'm going to try to calm the situation down so that the two of you can, you know, get through this process. Part of the reason is that I want to assure you, Mr. Dixon, that while I may put an order down that limits your ability to interact in this business, it doesn't mean you don't have an ownership interest in it that you're entitled to. it doesn't mean that it can't be recognized, your contributions to the creation of this business, your contributions to, the acquiring of contracts for this business, all of that will ultimately be recognized in the distribution of assets and the assessment of the value of this property. But right now, my only aim is to try to preserve this business, because if I don't, it's like you said in your text message, this business is not going to be in existence in a few days or a few weeks if this continues downhill. So I find that there is a basis for an order of protection that protects Mrs. Smithson from Mr. Dixon's direct or indirect contact. I will deal with the children's situation in just a moment. That order of protection also will extend to the operation of Dixon Tree Service, LLC. This order will specifically acknowledge the fact that this order does not affect Mr. Dixon's claims for ownership interest in the business or in the equipment involved. Because Dixon Tree Service is in the business of tree service and clearing lines and the equipment that's been described as belonging to him because he acquired it, it's in his name, but nonetheless is marital property. That trailer and chipper, I think, is the one thing, or the truck and the chipper that's still in the possession of Mrs. Smithson and the tree service will be left in their possession. But this Jeep, I don't see any reason, if it's his Jeep or if it's a Jeep that he utilized, I don't see any reason for that. Is that a vehicle that she's driving? Is that what I'm understanding?
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, we're just going to maintain the status quo. Discovery will bring all of that to fore. And if it's her vehicle, I don't want her being taken away from that vehicle. The point is that we're going to limit his ability to go onto the job site. He will not be allowed to go to the job sites. He will not be allowed, absent a court order, then he will not be allowed to remove any of the equipment in the possession of Dixon Tree Service or Mrs. Smithson. Likewise, she will not be allowed to remove any equipment that's in his present position. Whatever he has in his possession, he'll have. Don't look at her, look at me. So it'll be an equal situation where she's going to be prohibited from, and if it needs to be in a separate order, it can be done so. But she needs to understand that whatever he has in his possession in the way of equipment, furniture, and furnishings, she can't go into the house to remove any of those items. He has exclusive possession of the marital residence. She's living in an Airbnb. So, if she has something in that house that she wants to remove, she and her lawyer can get with Mr. Baker, or they can file a motion in court and one of the judges will rule on that. The situation with the children at the present, there really is not a motion down for the establishment of a parenting plan. So I'm not going to go through the statutory factors to designate who should be the primary residential parent. Clearly, these are teenage children. If they're living primarily with her, there'll be no, I will put an order down that neither one of them is going to snatch the children from the other's possession. Instead, I'm going to order that if all goes well, he'll have every other weekend visitation with the children. Now, you've got a child that's borderline autistic, according to what I've been told, and you've got teenagers. And teenagers have things going on in their lives that they may or may not want to. I'm allotting him every other weekend from Friday at 6 to Sunday at 6. If he doesn't exercise that because of some resistance on the minor children's part, then he doesn't force them to go. That shall not be used against him in any future proceeding. I'm giving him the opportunity to exercise it, but I'm giving him the opportunity to realize if they've got some reason that they want to go, then that'll be up to him. These children have two parents. Mrs. Smithson, to her credit, says he's a good father, but the child or children that we're talking about also are in the middle of the situation. I am putting an order down that specifically and explicitly prohibits either one of these parties from discussing this case with the minor children and from making any derogatory remark about the other parent to the children. Violation of this order will be dealt with as contempt of court. that means I will put you in jail. Every time that a derogatory comment is made to the child that's proven to me, then you will serve 10 days in jail, and that goes for both of you. If she talks about you, she's going to be in contempt. If you talk about her to these children, you'll be in contempt. I don't want to put you in jail. I want you to understand that life goes on after a divorce. So whatever the situation has been up to this point, you're going to have to start dealing with the fact that you're not going to be married to this woman anymore. And she's not going to be married to you. And you're going to have to find a way to address that and deal with it and go forward. You've got a good job and a good opportunity to do that. If your son in the operation of the business needs some equipment, he talks to the person who's in charge of Dixon Tree Service LLC to borrow that equipment. I'm not putting an order down that he has an absolute right. It'll be up to them to deal with it. The main thing I want you both to know is this. You have apparently a very successful business, regardless of how it started, regardless of who, got it into creation. It is a marital asset that will have to be addressed in the division of property in this case. I'm not going to, at this moment, order you to a special master. The reason I don't do that is I rarely ever send people to a special master. Why? Because it's my job to make these decisions. If I send you to a special master, you're talking about scheduling probably several days of hearings. You're probably having several thousands of dollars in expense to both your attorneys and several thousands of dollars of expense to the special master's fees that would be there. And then the special master makes a report. That report comes to me. Both of you have an opportunity to file an objection to his report or her report. And then I have to have a hearing where we litigate those issues. Well, if I'm going to do that, I might as well hear the case. I don't really want to, but you need to do your discovery, and that discovery rule, the discovery rules allow you to find out everything there is to find out about the businesses and the marshal all of your information so that hopefully you can either come to an agreement or you can have a final hearing. In addition to that, you're going to be required to go through mediation. I don't find that there is a statutory exemption for this. And before the final hearing in this case, you two are going to, and after discovery has been completed, then you can go to a mediator and try to resolve this case. The fact of the matter is that I understand your anger and I understand your frustration, but that needs to change if you're going to have any success in this case. She doesn't need to be subjected to the type of language that was used in that. My dad had a temper, and when he got mad, words would flow like he was still in World War II. But it made an impression on me as a child that is the last thing I think a person ought to do around their children or towards their spouse if it can be avoided. So sometimes we all get angry, and sometimes things get said in the spirit of anger that we regret, and we all need to try to make sure that those things don't happen. So let's try to make sure that you can understand you both got good lawyers. Let them help you to go through this process. Do your due diligence on the discovery. Let this business continue to, it can only be in Mr. Dixon's best interest that this Dixon Tree Service continues to be successful because he has an ownership interest in it. So it's only in her interest that it be successful as well. And we'll deal with that at a later date. Is your microphone on?
I guess.
It is now.
Did we address this F-350?
The what? F-350?
His pickup truck?
You get the Jeep, he gets the Fiat F-350. Any reason he can't have that?
It's on system,
It's what?
working on system.
I'm going to give him the F-350. That's just an arbitrary decision. I'm not awarding it to him. I'm giving him temporary possession.
Your Honor, if we could address the bucket truck and the chipper that's currently in his
I'm
possession.
sorry, I can't hear you.
Sorry, if we could address the bucket truck and the chipper that were taken from the job site on July 11th and have that returned to Dixon Tree Services LLC.
That's a rented piece of equipment in his name that they use for.
File your motion in the divorce action. This is an order of protection. I'm not gonna get into that today. I'm
Yes,
just
Your
simply saying, right now, whatever she needs to operate the business ought to be returned to her under the circumstances. Talk to your lawyer, let her be the one to speak.
Out of it, 1,000 miles.
All of the ruling.
I'm waiting to see, they had an objection to the bucket truck and the chipper.
The,
Did I understand correctly? That's in his possession?
it's in his possession, it rented in the name of the business.
Who has it?
We have it, but my client says he is rented it. It is not rented in the name of the business.
Your Honor, I can file that as a late filed exhibit to this hearing.
Well, does she not have other equipment that she can operate this business with the chipper and?
It's a $5,000 a week rental.
When Mr. Dixon rented, which is the same equipment, he says $3,400.
Mr. Dixon has a job. Bucket truck and the chipper will go back to Dixon Tree Service on a temporary basis. His ownership interest in it will be preserved. He'll have it returned to them within 5 days. That is the judgment of the court.
Judge, can I late file the rental thing for Mr. Dixon on that?
You can late file anything you want to.
Okay, thanks, Judge.
This meeting is adjourned.